Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets that you can download in US letter or A4, and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page on that website with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam, and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day when you're actually sitting in the exam room working through your paper. And so if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store, and so now we're going to continue with the last paper, paper S of the 2015 Music Theory past papers for grade 5. So turn with me to page 24 and we're going to have a look at question 2. And so I always say this, I know I'm repeating myself, however I do suggest you have a crack at these on your own first of all. It doesn't matter if you go wrong. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. Always write in pencil. Then if you go wrong, you can just erase that out and have another go, and you will learn much more thoroughly that way than just by passively copying through it. So I'm hoping you've had a go of this. And now we're going to have a look at these intervals. So we've got to fully describe these numbered and bracketed intervals, giving the degrees of the scale, the interval between those degrees of the scale, and also qualifying what sort of an interval that is. And so first of all, the first job is counting the interval. So we've got a 1, always count the first, the lowest note. We count from that as number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a something fourth. So that's part of your marks already. That's half marks already. And then we need to think. Now we always count the lowest note as our tonic. And so A to D would be perfect. However, it's an A flat to D. And so by lowering that low note, instead of A to D, which would be perfect, we've lowered that to an A flat. And so we've actually made that interval larger. We've extended that interval by lowering the bottom note. And so we have an augmented fourth there. So we're a semitone bigger than the perfect fourth. So here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 6. So that's part of the marks already. And then A flat is our lowest note. We always treat this as the tonic. And F would be part of A flat major. And so this is a major sixth. Now here on interval number 3, we've already exceeded an octave, and so I'm going to just jump the octave up and take it from this low E to this E here. And then we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, so we know it's a fourth. Now it's E flat to A flat, and that would be a perfect fourth, and so we have a compound perfect fourth. So a compound, because we've exceeded the octave, perfect fourth. Alternatively, you could just count the intervals and say that you've got a perfect 11th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've got a perfect 11th, but you'd have to know that that was perfect because in fourths, and so therefore 11ths, there is no major minor, it's just perfect, and then we augment and diminish that. So you'd have to know that the 11ths are perfect too. And this is why I always stick to the compound, because I already know that fourths are perfect, fourths, fifths and octaves, and so I don't need to learn new numbers, I can just say compound. That makes more sense to me. However, whichever system you prefer is fine. And so now we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a fifth. Now our lowest note is a B flat. So B flat to F would be perfect. That would be part of your major minor scales. However, because it's an F flat, we've made it smaller, so we've gone from perfect to diminished. So there we have a diminished fifth. There we go. And so the last one, we're going from G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. So we have a 7th. Now if we treat G as our tonic, our key note, G major would have F sharps. That's not the case. So we've gone from G, instead of F sharp, which would be part of the major scale, we've made that smaller. So we've gone minor, major to minor. So that's a minor interval, which is always a semitone smaller than the major one. So that's a minor 7th. And you can also understand that that would also be part of the descending melodic minor scale. So let's move on to the next question. And again, this involves quite a lot of work with intervals as we work on this transposition question. We're transposing down a major second. This is for clarinet and B flat. And so the reason we would transpose it down a major second, as it would sound at concert pitch as a clarinetist plays a C, but the instrument actually sounds B flat. And so we are going to write out exactly what we would hear if the clarinet player played these notes. We're asked not to use a key signature, but we need to put in all necessarily sharp or flat signs. So we need to imagine that there's a key signature that we're going to be using, but then put that in place as accidentals. So here we have a key signature of 1 sharp, which we can think of as G major. It may well be a minor, but all of your accidentals will be adjusted as we go along. So it's easy to just take it as the major key. So we need to go down a major second from G, and a full major second, a full step down takes us to F major. So here we're in F major, and so we need to remember that we would have a key signature of B flats. Now we're not going to have that key signature, but we need to put that into place every time we see a B. And so before I get bogged down in counting down the transposition part of the question, I'm just going to map out my bar lines. And I know that they've given us 2 lines of staves here, but really, and we just need to use this top one because I want to keep everything aligned with their example so I don't get lost. We've got enough to be thinking about without worrying about running out of space or forgetting which bit we're on. So I'm keeping everything aligned. And so now we need to come down a second, which is literally a step. So the line will come down to the next space. The space will come down to the next line. Everything's literally going down a step, and then we'll have to adjust by these semitones as we go along. So time signature. No key signature, we'll put that in as we go along as accidental. So here we have an E. I'm not bothering with stems at the moment. Down a step should take us to a D. Down a step again should take us to a C. Back up a step. Back down a step. Down a step. Now here, this note has been raised. It's a C natural that's been raised by adding a sharp sign. Now we should have a B flat in place here, but if we think we've got the B flat that would be the key signature and we're now going to raise it a semitone, that takes us to a B natural. So actually we can just leave that as a plain old B, or alternatively you could put the natural sign in and you can put it in brackets showing that you know it's not an absolute necessity because it's not really doing a job, but you're just showing that you know that there should have been flat, but you've made it natural because it's been raised by a semitone there. So either just leave it blank or just put your natural or put it in brackets. Either way, it's all saying the same thing. So up a step, back down a step. Now this same note, it was raised, that has now been cancelled, so that's putting us back to the natural. And so here we cancel that and we put it back to the flat. So we've lowered it again, up a step, back down a step. So we should be on an A, and we are. Up a third should take us to the C that we were on, and it does so. Back down a third takes us to A. Now here, this is a B natural that's been lowered by a flat. This is an A natural, so we need to lower that likewise by a flat. Up a third takes us to C. That was a D natural that's been lowered by a flat, so this is a C natural that we need to lower by a flat. And then we're going down 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, which should take us to the G. Yes, it does. Up a third, down 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 takes us to an F. Now here, that G natural has been raised by a sharp, so this F natural will be raised by a sharp, and then up a third. And that's that, the hard thinking done now. So now we need to put the stems in. They may have changed direction just because we've altered the pitch down a step. Let's see. These will all come down because these are all above the middle line. We're beginning and ending in the same place, so that's straight. That's a semiquaver. So this one can go either way. This one must come down, so these can come down also to suit. There we go. Just tidy that up. Same, these can go either way. Same scenario here. And then now here, these are coming down, but this we're going to have to rethink because this one needs to come down, but these two need the stems to go up, and so these two are outvote this one, and so the stems will have to now change upwards. Ooh, not quite long enough. And then here, this one must go down, but this one must go up. This one can go either way, so it's between these two. Now this one is only one step away from being able to go either way, whereas this one is 2 steps away, so this one really needs it most, so that outvotes the situation, and so the stems will have to come up for the sake of this middle note G. And then these two can go up just because that's the way they need to go, because they're both below the middle line. There we go then. So in previous grades I've suggested you then pop all your slurs and articulation marks and so on. However, this is more than enough to get you the marks that you need, and maybe in this grade now time is a little bit more critical, so we can just leave it at that. You've done all the thinking and you've got everything right that you need to there. So that marks the end of that question. We'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that this is helpful to you. I hope that you're enjoying it. I certainly am. Please do give me a like, that would be super, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. And please do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.